On today's episode, the team is aggregating and creating our top 25 2026 NCAA teams. Stick with us.
Yeah, ain't no problems, ain't no problems, that won't problem with me, no. Yeah.
Let me talk to the chat. They know I was gone for a minute, had to BRB. Had to grab a couple wins, what I DID. They sleeping on the kid, I had to do it BIG. I can never be average, and they want a problem with the boy, they don't want no static. I don't need your cosign running with God. Wanna test that, tell them what's happening. Took control, run the game. Best believe I'm shining dog. Counting in my wins, yeah, I love it when they count me out. Off the leash, of the chain, boy, I've been a dog. Best believe I run the game, you know I'm in control of y'all. It's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Yeah, it's like magic, believe I want that static. Beat them up, knock them out. They really don't want no static.
Whew. It just doesn't get any less hype every time I see it, but hyped to be here with you all for the second episode of College Baseball Now, presented by Prospects Live. And as you can see, and as you will soon hear, I'm not alone. Joined to craft the top 25 NCAA teams of 2026 way too early, very preseason. Three of our finest analysts on the Prospects Live amateur team. We're going to start, of course, with our guest from last time. He may be joining us. He may not be a new name, but he is a great name, and we're happy to have him with us. Jake Bargery. Jake, what'd it do?
Hey, Drew, thanks again for having me on. I'm excited to talk about, to get into the discussion today about, some top 25 college teams. I'm ready to get into it.
I think we're ready to get into it, man. I love your hat. And I know that you and I are not particularly excited to talk about one bit of news, but the horrors persist, and so too must we. Joining us as well, you can be found on the Twitter machine at JB_Sebastiano. Probably going to ruin the suspense a little bit, but it is JB Sebastiano. JB, hey man, what's up?
Hey, thank you, Drew. I'm really excited to be on. I'm excited to chat up with everybody about the top 25.
Joining us as well, and magically somehow, now on the left side of your screen, technology. How does it work? Joining us as well, the chiseled jawline, the bright and shining grin of Josh Catlett. Josh, thanks for joining us, man. How you doing?
Not too much of a chiseled jawline very often, but I'll take it. I'm excited to sit in here and talk about top 15, 20 teams that I think – there's about 15, 20 teams that I think can probably – actually make a run at this thing this year, and they're really close in a lot of ways. I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, certainly a lot to cut up and break down in terms of the top teams. I say we jump right into the episode because we're talking today about a preseason top 25. Way too early, obviously. Very predictive, very assumptive in a lot of ways, and yet it's something that we're going to have a lot of fun with. So what we did for a little bit of behind the scenes for you guys, I had each of these gentlemen, Josh, JB, and Jake, all give me a list of anywhere between 10 and 25 of their top college baseball teams for 2026. So I have aggregated those. And guys, so that you know, I also chipped in my top 25. But for the aggregate, I gave all of you two answers, me one. So your two is equal to my one. I trust your opinion more than my own. So that is why I did that. But alas, let's get into our top three. That's the teams we're talking about first. Number one from the aggregate, guys, it's going to be LSU. Number two, we're talking about UCLA. Number three, Texas. So all of these teams, though, the aggregate was very close, within 0.4 of one another. Insane margin there. Insane margin. It actually was, believe it or not, the rogue Drew vote that screwed up almost a direct tie among them. So I will take a little bit of credit for that, unfortunately. But each of you had a different number one team. So I would love to talk about some of these teams. Jake, we're going to start with you. UCLA was your number one team. I'm curious, why did you rank them number one?
Putting UCLA at number one might, it seems kind of like I don't want to say a cop out, but they're a really hot team right now, and a lot of people have them at the top in the nation, and that's the same for me. They're in a unique spot where they're returning nearly an entire roster that made it to Omaha last year. Obviously, it's led by Rock Chalowski. We know about him. We've talked about him quite a bit to this point, but they're also returning, Mulavai Lavu, Roman Martin, Dean West in that lineup. Those are all key pieces to that Omaha run that are on their way back. That's not to mention that they're adding outfielder Will Gasparino from Texas to the mix as well, to likely, man center field for them. On the pitching side, I see at least, there's like 6 potential guys that could break into their rotation. Probably going to be headlined by Michael Barnett. He's given them 80-plus innings back-to-back seasons. You probably expect more of the same from him. They also bring in Logan Redeman from San Diego. Last year he had 9 starts with a 2.29 ERA. And they're also bringing in a literal second-round pick from last year in Angel Cervantes. Mid to upper 90s. I've heard rumors that he's been a little bit higher than that. Easy plus changeup, couple breakers that's flashed plus, and I think he's got every chance to make that rotation as a freshman. Coach Savage, he's a phenomenal coach also, and he's got a lot of fun tools at his disposal to make another Omaha run.
That's a lot of ingredients for a really dangerous team. And, dude, how funny is it, Jake, that we've had let me count this really quickly. 1 other episode of college baseball now. And as you said, we've talked exclusively and extensively about Rock Chalowski thus far. But he is very talented. And with a guy like that leading the ship, it's hard not to get excited for them. JB, I know you've got some thoughts on UCLA. I'm curious, what do you make of them as maybe a number 1 overall team candidate?
Yeah. So being as someone that was from California originally, I lived in Southern California, grew up going to UCLA games for a bit before moving out here in North Carolina now. UCLA, as Savage has built a great environment there for them to win games for a long time now. And personally in high school, I played against some of their guys that they had there, Roman Martin and Dean West. Roman Martin kind of broke onto the scene. He was a top draft prospect in his class. Could have played shortstop, got moved over because obviously they have the number 1 player in the class. Chalowski was an incredible shortstop there. But Martin's another 20-plus homer bat for them, on top of Dean West being a guy who's at the top of the order, 30-plus stolen base threat, great all-around player that they have. And UCLA is just probably one of the deeper teams in the country, and playing in such a weak Big Ten conference, I think it really helps them push their ability to get into the College World Series and kind of gain one of those top 8 national seeds. So I think UCLA is definitely a great contender. I think when it comes down to it, maybe it's a tougher schedule for them in the playoffs again, since they do play worse competition. But I think UCLA is one of the deeper teams in the country.
Well said. Hey, you got to think so. And for coming from a SoCal boy, we'll take that with a little extra emphasis as well. JB, we'll stick with you, man. You have betrayed the ACC. Someone stop the presses, but you have selected LSU as the number 1 team in the nation. I'm curious, why do you have the Tigers as your number 1 squad?
Yeah, so this summer, actually, while I was at some of the USA 18U and Collegiate National Games, I got to meet Jay Johnson and talk with him a little bit about his transfer class. And he's an incredible guy, one of the best coaches in college baseball, and he's done great in the portal as well. Seth Dardar, we played against Kansas State here at UNC. Great all-around hitter, graduate guy, very advanced approach, should be a solid guy in their lineup, along with Zach York, who they added there, 2+ bats that you add at the corner at first base, 2 options for them. Curry Al, I was big on him, played against him as well in high school, and Trent Caraway, another kid who I played against and had some big ups at Oregon State, some downs with the injuries. I think he's definitely a breakout candidate for them. And Braden Simpson right from my backyard at High Point. I think they just added a ton of talent on top of having Maverick Rizzi and William Schmidt, Jaden Newt, who's another California kid, just a lot of big arms and a lot of high-end talent on this team. So I think it's hard to beat the Tigers. But obviously there hasn't been a reigning back-to-back champion in a long time. So I think they deserve the right to defend their crown, but it's going to be hard for them to climb the mountain, I think.
It certainly will. We definitely know that LSU, like you said, does have that mountain to climb. More than just the season, they have the added pressure of defending their title. Can they do it? I don't know. They have a squad full of dudes that JB played against, which means they must be pretty good. Josh, we're going to kick it to you, man. From one SEC squad to another, a team that my bias for is doing very well to be hidden thus far. It may come out here. I hope it will not. We'll have to see what happens. No promises. Why in the world would you rank Texas as the number one team?
Well, they were the number one team in the country for most of the season last year, and they're returning a lot of names that you recognize. It all starts with the pitching staff. It's a bunch of guys that the average college baseball fan that was watching this team last year is going to remember these names, from Dylan Volantis, SEC Freshman of the Year, Luke Harrison, Ruger Riojas, Thomas Burns, a lot of guys in that pitching staff that are coming back. And with as great of a coaching staff as Texas has with Schlossnagle and Max Wiener, I think they can develop those guys even further and become a little more consistent to take it into the postseason. Also, along the lineup side of things, I think there's a lot of transfer guys that are going to come in and catch people off guard that aren't really paying attention in the offseason, like Carson Tenney, Aiden Robbins. Those are two names that have really caught the attention of a lot of national college baseball people. Carson Tenney, undeniable power, little questionable hit tool, but he's great behind the plate. Undisputed one of the best catchers in the class. Aiden Robbins, everybody has fallen in love with at the Cape. He was I think he won the batting title up there this summer, and he came and he really overperformed in the fall games that people have seen from him. There's also some names that, like I said, people that just watched college baseball last year will recognize coming back. Adrian Rodriguez, guys like Ashton Larson, who has championship DNA from LSU. That always helps. It can't hurt, at least. Adrian Rodriguez is maybe going to be the number one pick in the 27 draft. So just keep an eye on that, I guess. It's a lot of pieces that I think are going to come together and will end up they'll have to go through a rigorous conference like they always have to in the SEC. But if they were able to do it last year and get the number 2 overall seed and hold the number 1 spot for most of the year, I don't see why they can't come back and do it again with as deep of a pitching staff as they have and as cohesive of a unit as they had last year. I think they can go and run it back and make a deeper run this year.
Well said. We have talked, Jake and I on the last episode talked about both Tenney and Robbins as being dynamic top 25, top 50 college bats for the draft in this upcoming season. Guys like Ruger, guys like Dylan Volantis, though, studs last year. Guys that are undeniably big time arms, so to say. You take notice when they're on the mound. At least I did. I don't want to speak for you guys, but I certainly did. Volantis may be my favorite player, not on the University of Tennessee Volunteers as a fan, I should say. That says a lot about him. Speaking of the Tennessee Volunteers, guys, rounding out the top 5, at number 4, we had the Volunteers, and at number 5, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Just to recap the top 5 for you at home, number 1, UCLA, 2, LSU, 3, the University of Texas, 4, the University of Tennessee, and 5, the Arkansas Razorbacks. Gentlemen, let's look beyond the top 5, though. I'm going to ask you all for a one-sentence answer, and I will permit like a semicolon or an M dash or whatever here, so you can give me more than just like 6 words or whatever, but in a one-sentence answer, which team that's currently outside of our top 5 do you think could reasonably hang with any of those top 5 any day of the week? Josh, we're going to start with you. Who you got?
I'm going to say Georgia Tech. There is too much talent in that lineup for them to not be able to hang with anyone they match up with, whether it be a midweek or a weekend game.
Very nice. JB, who you got?
I have Florida State. If you put Trey Beard and Wes Mendez together and you add a good solid core of a lineup coming back again, I think it's tough. I think they're a great team.
Yeah, it's nasty for sure. Jake, what are you looking at here, man?
I'll round out our trio of ACC teams, and I'll take Virginia. In one word, I can say transfers. And between, whether it's coaches or players, they brought in a phenomenal transfer class, Duke especially, but they have a good group of returners as well. I think they got a lot of great pieces over there.
Certainly do. Interesting, in our oops, all ACC answers there, we did actually name a lot of the top 10. So let's go ahead and round out that top 10. We just gave you the top 5, and so 6 at home, guys. Georgia, number 7, Florida State, Number 8, Georgia Tech. Number 9, the University of Florida. Number 10, the University of Virginia. Josh, we're going to go back to you here. Georgia ranks number 6 for us as a unit between the four of us, I guess, technically. You had Georgia ranked 4th, though. I'm curious if you could tell us, man, what do the Bulldogs have working this year? I know it is one of the most dynamic transfer classes in the country.
Yeah, for sure. I know they don't have a track record recently of making deep runs in the postseason. They haven't been to Omaha since 2008, I think. But if there's a team that's going to do it, I think it might be this one, because on paper, it's probably the best transfer class, and it might take them a little while to gel, but eventually I don't see how they don't get there. They're going to have a starting rotation that is just loaded. Joey Volchko coming from Stanford, Caden Aoki coming from USC, and another Stanford guy, Matt Scott. That's more than likely going to be the weekend rotation, and those are proven guys at a power conference level that are seen as good, or at least Volchko has seen as a good enough prospect that he's going to be able to do it at the next level too. But I don't see why all three of those guys, along with a decent bullpen, can't carry it over to SEC play. Also, they have a lot of transfer guys, just kind of like the starting rotation. Jordy Oriach coming from New Mexico, guys like Bryce Callaway from New Orleans, both dudes that just put up ridiculous numbers at a lower level last year, should probably come and translate to the SEC level. I mean, there's even a guy like Jack Archimone that might not even start. He'll be the DH maybe, but he won't even be the best guy behind the plate for them. There's going to be probably a competition in fall for that, I would imagine, which shows a lot about the depth of this lineup. And barring injuries, like any sports team can say, I don't see why they can't put the pieces together by the end of the season and all the talent just overcomes everything else.
I like that response. And man, you're absolutely right. There's so much talent. Who's to say that just, if it's talent versus talent, Georgia may be one of the best squads in the whole country. So, hey, you may be onto something ranking them number 4. JB, we're going to kick it to you, man. You had another SEC team ranked number 4, the Florida Gators, a team that I ranked pretty highly, ironically. I'm not sure whether that means I should feel better about myself. You should feel worse about yourself. That's not the question. The question is, why are the Gators such a dangerous team this year?
Yeah, I think it's hard to bet against Kevin O'Sullivan. I know they had a rough year last year, but that team, they always find a way to make it to Omaha, and they got a lot of new talent on this team to supplement with the talent they already had. Carson Bowen from TCU, certified catcher who will be great for them behind the plate. Ethan Suriak from Ole Miss is another guy that will be great for them. Then you bring back Cade Curlin. You also have Kyle Jones, who broke out in the Cape. Blake Sear, a guy who I ranked really highly out of Miami, transfers there, kind of had an up and down year. I think he could bounce back and produce a little more. And then you add Liam Peterson and Luke McNeely on the mound coming back, along with transfer from UCF, Russell Sandifer. I think it's a lot there for them to build around, and I think they have one of the better cores for the Gators that they've had in a long time. So I think this will be a really talented team.
I think so too. It's interesting you brought up Carson Bowen, one of my favorite interviews from last year. That kid is a baseball rat who I really fear has maybe stumbled into the worst luck outside of the Drew Wheeler universe in human history. And so I would love to see him succeed. I remember when I interviewed him, I said, "Are you maybe looking at anywhere in the South?" He said, "Yeah, I might be." And then I actually DM'd him when he committed to Florida and told him he was very close. He picked orange, but the wrong complimentary color. Either way, glad to shout him out on the show. Carson, what's up? Florida's going to be a squad. Like you said, man, Blake Sear, such talent in that guy. And if it was an up and down year, I wonder what the true talent level is. And I think Florida's going to be excited to see. Josh, you've got some notes on the University of Florida as well. I guess we're just going to chomp all show.
Yeah, I've actually got a fun little game. I don't know what I want to call it, a game or a question for y'all. I want to throw it at y'all to see what it's like. I'm going to list off a few Florida pitchers, probably the most relevant ones that I can think of. Hopefully I don't butcher any names. I want to see if someone can tell me what they all have in common, if y'all think y'all can figure it out. All right? Liam Peterson, Aiden King, Russell Sandifer, Luke McNeely, Jackson Bargery, Matthew Jenkins, Josh Reitnauer, and Billy Barlow. What do all of those guys have in common? Anyone?
I know it. I just want to see if they know it.
Man, you got me. I don't know.
Oh, really? Yeah. They are all right-handed pitchers. So I don't know how much it's going to matter when it comes down to the stretch, throughout the course of the regular season. But I think that when you get down to the postseason, when it's all hands on deck in these last-minute games, if you're facing a lineup with, a lot of lefties, who's going to be that left-handed pitcher that you're going to actually be able to throw out there and counter a little bit? Because all of their guys seem to be righties. I don't know how much it's going to matter at the end of the day. If you can hear that train in my earbuds, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I don't know how much
we could, but that's okay. We could, but that's okay. I feel like the train was delivering the lefty that Florida needs. It's just going past you.
Exactly. Look, you live right on this train. I've learned to, like, at night I sleep right through it, but during the day you can't ignore it. You have to stop what you're saying at all times. It's got the point across. That's what matters.
All righties. So kind of like us earlier.
Great sound effect, man. You were rolling right there.
I was about to say, yeah, Jake, I don't know how Josh cued the sound effect, but it was insane, and well done on him. All the righties. I know earlier we were kind of oops all ACC. Has Florida, Jake, have they accidentally gone oops all righties? And if so, could that work?
I think like Josh said, you're not, you have to think it's going to work because they're all really good arms, but like you're not really going to know until you get that test or you face a lineup full of lefties, right? I feel like guys like Peterson and King and McNeely and the other names that you mentioned, I feel like they can compete with any hitter in the country. So, I think you have to expect it to work until proven otherwise, right?
I think so. I think that's a very fair assessment. Guys, let's move from the 6 through 10 range. Let's talk 11 through 15. A lot more talented teams. They just keep coming. Number 11, we've got the University of North Carolina. Take your shirt off, wave around your hair like a helicopter. TCU at 12, Auburn at 13, Clemson at 14, Texas A&M, the Aggies at number 15. Convenient grouping. Anybody that knows this group of guys would particularly agree. An odd grouping. I can say for certain I'm not trying to butter either of you guys up by putting your teams here. I just think they're talented. Jake, we will start with you though. You, buddy, had TCU ranked 4th. These two guys, they had some of our guys, Georgia, Florida, ranked at 4. You went kind of off the grid with the Horned Frogs at number 4, a team I really like. A lot of talent there. What do you like about the Horned Frogs, Jake?
I'll start out saying I'm not affiliated with TCU in any way, but yeah, I do like the Horned Frogs. I do like what they have this year. They made the Big 12 championship game last year. Made it to a regional, lost in Corvallis to a future Omaha team in the Beavers. While they did, they lost a few arms in the draft, but overall they did a pretty good job retaining most of their talent in the portal. They're returning a stud trio of outfielders in Sawyer Stroh-Snyder, who is, by all means a future first-round pick. Chase Brunson, maybe another future first-round pick, and Noah Franco rounding out that outfield. And their rotation going to be led by Tommy Lepore. Last year he gave them 90 innings with a 3.09 ERA and 88 strikeouts. They're also bringing back Mason Brassfield and a plethora of transfers. An interesting guy to watch for that pitching staff is going to be freshman Yuli Fernsler. I think he's got a good chance to break into that rotation as a freshman. Big body, mostly low 90s quality changeup slider. I think he could get that Sunday spot. And just overall, they have an experienced core group, and they have as good a chance of anybody to make a run, in my opinion.
Love it. Hey, I think so. A couple of notes there, man. Tommy Lepore brings the funk. This guy might as well have like the Seinfeld bass, boom, 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 just behind every pitch he throws because it's so funky. I love this guy. And then you said a minute ago, you ran through that outfield and you said, rounded out by Noah Franco. I think that statement in and of itself is such a testament to that outfield. How much talent do they have there? Obscene amounts of talent in the TCU outfield. They're going to be a threat, man, those old Horned Frogs. And you said a minute ago you're not affiliated with them yet. Maybe that's a sign of things to come, yeah? Let's move forward, though. North Carolina. JB, you have been affiliated with this team. Some have connected the dots and say you work for the team. Maybe a little bit of bias there, but that's okay. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm pretty sure this is one you could field. Who are some of the biggest surprise threats? I know that this is a team that's got a lot of returning dudes, a lot of talent up and down this roster. Who are some dudes that maybe we're overlooking that could pop off and really surprise folks this year, maybe on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, so hop through a couple of them here. So finished up a scrimmage last week against NC State. The guy who started that game coming back after a season where he was out of the bullpen more, had Tommy John in his freshman season, Folger Boaz, a guy that has been a big part of this team, big left-handed arm for us. I think that he's made some adjustments. He looks good, throwing a lot of strikes, cleaned up some of the delivery and pitch. I think that he's the guy that probably starts on Sunday for us. Also to fight with him is early enrollee, 17-year-old Caden Glauber from South Carolina. He was up to 97 the other day against NC State, so he'll be a fun arm to see, loose, quick, whippy arm action. I mean, he's got it all. Probably would have been a top 3-round draft pick if he stayed in high school. On top of that, we move across the ball. Brought in a lot of transfers on the offensive side. Jake Schaffner from North Dakota State is a great defensive infielder that we have. He's also shown top of the order ability for us. Owen Hull from George Mason, another guy who's got some thump in the bat, will take over center field. And a sleeper from Iowa, Iowa JUCO, is Cooper Nicholson. He'll probably play third for us. He's probably been one of our best hitters all fall. Been one of the most polished hitters we've had here in a while. So I think it'll be very interesting to see what we do as a team, but those are a couple of names for North Carolina that will definitely stand out and be some names you want to remember for this spring.
Is there any chance, JB, you can give me one sentence on my favorite player from the UNC squad last year?
Walker McDuffie, let me know who that is.
Walker McDuffie.
Yeah. McDuffie, I think he's gonna be back again. He'll probably be in a similar role again. Most likely, it'll be high leverage for us. You'll probably see him out of the pen with that nasty slider and just pumping up the crowd. High energy guy. He is definitely probably going to be back there, along with Matthew Mathias, who will be coming back this year off of surgery. So I think it'll be a good tandem, a good duo for us as well out of the pen.
You gotta love it. Well, I guess you gotta love it. For any other team, I guess you don't have to love it, but that's just as well. Yeah. Shall we flip it to you, Josh? I know you have worked very closely with the Auburn baseball squad. You've got a lot of intel on tons of these dudes. I think one of the first things I said to you, Josh, when we met was about how one of my favorite players in college baseball is Bub Terrell. And you said, oh, yeah, Bub's a great kid. You got tons of stories. So I'm going to pitch you something similar to what we did, JB. Who are the underrated guys? Who are the guys that maybe the national circuit is looking past? Who could surprise us this year?
I'll say a couple of the transfers are going to come in and perform really well coming from the mid-major level. Ryan Farber is probably going to be the starting shortstop coming from Texas State. He's got a great hit tool, puts the bat on almost everything that comes in the zone. Should be really reliable, good defender at the shortstop. I think he should be able to get to almost everything that comes that way. He's going to fill right in for Derek Fabian and Eric Snow that kind of rotated in that spot last year. Along those lines, on the other side, on the mound, Drew Whalen coming in from Western Kentucky, Conference USA Pitcher of the Year last year, has a great 5-pitch mix. Don't see how it doesn't translate to the SEC. He was a real dominant guy for most of the year last year. Got lit up a little bit in the postseason, but that's just a small sample size. You don't know how it can turn around. The Auburn team as a whole, I think it's going to be not as much of a loss in terms of pieces as people may think because, big names like Ike Irish, Cooper McMurray, names that college baseball fans know, they're gone. Going to be a little tougher to replace. But I think guys like Chase Fralick, Bub Terrell, that are in that 27 draft class, both sophomores are going to step right up and improve their game like they continued to do throughout the end of last year. Chris Rembert, which we all know, also a sophomore but draft eligible this year. He's going to be great at the second base position, probably the most reliable guy on that entire team. A lot of depth in the outfield with Bristol Carter, Cade Ballou, probably going to fill in those other two spots. First base could be a bit of a question at this point, the only real question maybe, besides bullpen depth. How do freshmen step up? The freshmen were a big storyline last year, how they stepped up out of the bullpen and in the field. It's a matter of can the freshmen this year live up to that kind of level again? For my money, I think it's probably going to be a little bit of a step down in that sense, but the freshmen like Christian Chatterton, Andreas Alvarez on the mound, probably going to step into a weekend role this year. Can they continue to develop? That'll be the bigger question of can the guys on the mound pick up where they left off last year? Can they continue to develop a little bit more as guys like Sam Dutton have left and, left the program in kind of a spot where you need to fill in using transfers, using freshmen, kind of like they did last year? Will it replicate the same kind of results?
It's interesting because if I'm picking up what you're throwing down regarding the pitching, it might be a little bit of a baptism by fire for them. I mean, obviously, the SEC is gonna provide a tough series every weekend for any team, let alone an Auburn team who you said we're looking for growth and we should see a lot of substantial growth and a lot of key players this year. It's going to be interesting. I'm curious to see how they do, and I appreciate those insights, man. You can't get this anywhere else, guys. You're only getting it right here on College Baseball Now from UNC and Auburn. And me and Jake are also here. Jake, let's talk about these next guys, man. 16 through 25. Next 10 teams, they'll round out our top 25 for the preseason. Number 16, Mississippi State. Hello, an insane transfer, insane offseason for these guys. Number 17, Vanderbilt. Number 18, Louisville. 19, Oregon. And 20, Oregon State. Convenient, they're back-to-back. 21, Arizona State. 22, UC Santa Barbara. Number 23, Miami, and that's the Florida variant. Number 24, Wake Forest. And then number 25, the University of Oklahoma. Jake, we're going to go to you here, man. Of these 10 teams, the ones rounding out our top 25, who's your favorite and why did they get the nod over all the other teams here?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Oregon Ducks. I got the opportunity to watch a lot of Big Ten baseball last year, so I've seen a lot of Oregon. They're returning Maddox Maloney, future early pick this year, and Ryan Cooney in the middle of the infield. They're also bringing back Berkeley Mabius, who flashed a lot as a freshman last year behind the dish. One guy that's really intriguing to me, they bring in Gabe Miranda, first baseman from Northern Kentucky. He was Northern Kentucky's everyday starter at first base last year. He had a 1081 OPS and 12 homers. I think that'll play in that ballpark, who's going to be missing the big power threat at first base where they lost Jacob Walsh last year. On the pitching side of things, they're returning Colin Clark and Will Sanford to the rotation. But I'm most intrigued by Cal Scolari coming in from San Diego. He gave them 70 innings last year, just over a 4 ERA and 77 strikeouts. They lost a lot in Mason Neville, Grayson Grenzel. I already mentioned Jacob Walsh. He's the career home run leader at Oregon. They lost all three of those guys in the draft last year. But they still have a lot of pieces to jump into that top group as they did last year.
They really did, and you're right. Jacob Walsh really kind of slips by you as the career home runs leader for Oregon, but an interesting thing, and certainly a loss for them. Like you said, we're going to see if they can replace that production. Love that shout for the University of Oregon. Currently our number 19. Jake thinks that they could move on up in maybe the top 10 later on this season. Jake, great insight, man. Thank you so much for that. JB, we're going to kick it to you. Of these teams, which do you think is your favorite and why?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Louisville Cardinals. Also, another ACC team we played last year. They made a run at Omaha. I think they returned some talent. They lose some pieces, but they have a lot of interesting talent there and also added on. Jacob Bean from Kent State transferred in, 4.20 ERA and 15 starts last year at Kent State. Very intriguing. Ben Slanker from Ohio had 21 homers, another interesting portal add. And then you add on to that outfield, Lucas Moore and Zion Rose, both Team USA players this summer. Both guys are two of the best hitters in the country. And you also add the best possible freshman in the ACC, Tage Davis. He was really hot at the start of last season. They also have Peter Michael as well coming back, and Brandon Shannon and the freshman class. I think they have a few guys that really are intriguing. I think that Louisville team is built to go back. Also, Alex Alicia playing shortstop for them, plus defender. I think it's going to be a really gritty team, your typical Louisville team that makes it to Omaha. It's going to be a tough road for them, but they have the pieces to try to make a run if they can get a good draw.
We'll have to see. Obviously, that's feels like an eternity away at this point, but it's well worth thinking about. It is going to take everybody's 90th percentile at this point to really reach Omaha. I mean, it's only 8 teams. We're talking about triple that plus today, guys. Crazy amount, and only the strong survive. Josh, we're going to go to you, man. Of these final 10 teams, who do you like the best and why?
Yeah, I'll take the bait. Everyone wants to talk about Brian O'Connor going to the SEC, Mississippi State. I mean, it's a proven coach at Virginia. What he's been able to do there, win a national championship, is really commendable. And to take it to one of the biggest brands, one of the biggest programs in the country, it's really hard to see it not pan out. I mean, they've gone out and got a few transfers from Virginia that'll probably have a lot of relevance in that lineup that we'll come to find out. Tomas Valencias, William Kirk on the mound side of things, Aiden Teal, and James and Nally, on the offensive side of things. I think they could both actually play especially Aiden Teal can play a really relevant, really important, impactful role for that team this year. They also went out and got some, mid-major guys, Kevin Maluski, Blake Beavis, that'll probably start for my money in that at catcher and at first base for that team. Also, Drew Wires at shortstop will probably be, sitting there on the left side of the infield with Ace Reese. The pitchers, I think, are like the most talented part of this team by a landslide. The lineup is going to be really, really tough to get through for an opposing pitcher, obviously. I think the pitchers, we're looking a little ahead now. I'm on record now saying I think this pitching staff will be the best 2027 pitching staff in the entire country. Because if you look at this pitching staff, every single contributor besides maybe Ben Davis, who's a senior, they're all sophomores. And if they can come back, if O'Connor can get them to come back, that's going to be a really dangerous squad in 2 years from now. Now, I know that's a year and a half in advance. They're going to be really good now because they got a freshman in Jack Bauer who's just taken the entire country by storm with all the results he's been putting up. And I don't see why it doesn't translate to the SEC either. I think a lot of guys like, Ryan McPherson, Tyler Pitzer coming from South Carolina, they're going to be able to translate and just really mow batters down as they go to the SEC this year. It might take a year or two, like I just said, for it to really pan out. But Brian O'Connor, with as good of a coach as he is, I would be shocked if they're not immediately a contender in some capacity this season.
It's going to be tough to see them as anything less, isn't it? I mean, Josh, you really said it. There's
Right.
so much talent kind of converging on Starkville in a sense, and it feels like there's such a sense of destiny about that team that the fact that they were ranked 16th here, I think that is, again, such a testament to the level of talent and the depth across the United States of America. What incredible squads up and down. Josh, I am going to put you on the spot here, if that's okay. Let's do another one-sentence answer.
Sure.
If you had to give another team in the 16 to 25 range, essentially what we're doing right here is we're just trying to promote the episode to more team fandoms. Let's shout out some more
Of course.
teams.
I'll go Vandy. I'll stick SEC. I mean, Vandy was the number 1 overall team going into the tournament last year, and they've got a lot of guys that are mostly returning from that team. There are some spots they're losing, but I would say for the most part, you're going to have, Colin Barksey, Brody Johnston. Those are names that everyone's going to remember. Rustin Rigdon. But, I mean, it's kind of – how do I put this? I think that it's going to be more like the sum of their parts on offense. There's not going to be like this real star that's going to go out there and just be the big name that's flashy to everybody. I think it's everyone contributes, kind of like last year. It felt like I talked about with Texas earlier. It fell apart at the wrong time. They ran into a buzzsaw. Happened. It's baseball. But I think at the end of the day, the pitching staff might be a little bit better. Guys like Austin Nye, Connor Fennell are going to really have to step up and be the leaders on that side of the ball. I think, will they be as good as last year? No, of course not. Number 1 overall seed, that's as high of a bar as it gets. But I think they could step up into that top 15 range and replace a couple teams just because of the consistency with Corbin, what he's been able to do there. I mean, it's a proven track record. And when you got guys that are sticking around and coming back that already produced last year for a really high-level team, odds are it's going to end up working out.
Track record and consistency are the two things I think of when I think of Vanderbilt, and you hit on them. I think you're absolutely right as well about saying this is a team whose sum is greater than the whole of its parts, and I'm absolutely with you on that as well. Great shout. JB, we'll go to you, man. Putting you on the spot as well. Give me another team.
Well, I'll give you a little 2-for-1 special here, if that's okay. one team I'm going to go with first, who was on my personal top 25, but they are not in our consensus. The NC State Wolfpack. I know they're a rival. I know that's a big deal, but the Wolfpack this year, I think they have a really talented group. I think that team is going to have a chance to really do some damage in the ACC and sneak up on some teams, especially with the schedule that they drew this year. I think they got some great returners in Ty Head and Anderson Nance and Ryan Marone on the mound. They also added in some newcomers. Sherman Johnson from McLennan JC was a big one that I liked. Rhett Johnson, freshman outfielder, who's got some playing time in the scrimmage the other day, also played really well. I also got Myhand. I think it's something Myhand. I forget the first name. He is a shortstop from LSU who transferred in. Didn't get much playing time there. He's another guy who can really play. I think they have a really interesting squad to put together on top of. I can't forget Luke Nixon either. They got a nice little group there that I think can really be scrappy and play and fit into Avant's type of style that he likes to play there. And within our top 25, I'll throw out another ACC team, the Miami Hurricanes. I am not big on the Hurricanes necessarily in the long term, but I think they have a lot of talent. I think they got a lot of stuff that they can bring to the table, especially stealing a catcher from the Wolfpack. Alex Sosa is a big name. Bringing back Alex Cuvée, Jake Ogden. They're a team that's really going to be interesting. I think the pitching is the biggest question mark for Miami, but they've been scrappy enough to find their way into a super regional last year. So I think they're a fun team to watch this year.
Certainly so. I'm glad you brought him up because Alex Sosa to Miami is such a great get for them. Although when we talk about NC State and we talk about Sosa leaving them, wise man Kevin Nash once said many years ago, don't turn your back on the Wolfpack. Curious exactly what that's going to mean for Sosa. There's going to be some bad blood. Hashtag Taylor Swift. Jake, going to you here, man. Give us one last team to round us out. Bring us home.
I'll talk about Oregon State. Josh mentioned Mississippi State having maybe the 2027 best pitching staff. I think Oregon State has a good chance to have the 2026 best pitching staff. Headlined obviously by Dax Whitney, kid's electric. They also have, Ethan Kleinschmidt, Eric Segura coming back. An underrated piece of that staff, I think, is they bring in Isaac Yeager from Washington. The big bullpen guy for them. He pitched 47 innings out of the pen for a sub-4 ERA for the Huskies. I think he's going to be able to give them some length out of the pen. He has a great opportunity to get a lot of innings for them. At the plate, they're returning Jacob Craig. He's a big power threat at first base. I also think they're going to get some good contributions from some freshmen. Mason Pike coming in to probably have a good chance to break into that lineup. He could just be their starting shortstop day one. They also bring in Ethan Porter, Josh Proctor, another couple freshmen. They have a ton of good transfer talent coming into that lineup as well. And I think I mentioned Oregon earlier. I think Oregon State's also got a lot of tools to jump into that top group.
Certainly do. Man, guys, we've only hit on maybe like 10, 12, 13 teams with so much talent. And this is such a difficult exercise. And, of course, because we are the freaks that we are, we're diving into it all the way in October. But what really is too early? What really is a waste of time? I don't want to hear it. Because we've just presented to you the way too early preseason top 25 for 2026. Say that 5 times fast, guys. Speaking of saying things, Josh, we're going to start with you. Tell the folks at home where they can find you between your appearances on College Baseball Now.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at Josh Catlett 3, Instagram, jcatlett3. Catch all of our content on prospectslive.com. We've been putting up, I'll shamelessly plug some of our articles we've been putting up there. I have one talking about the top 10 individual pitches in the 2026 MLB draft class from college guys. And I know JB, some of our other guys have been putting together articles that we're working on for guys that could raise their stock in the 2026 draft class throughout the course of the 2026 college baseball season. I know we got right-handed pitchers, left-handed pitchers that we just put out. We're going to go through every position group. So, yeah, that's our best content. Go check us out there.
Absolutely. JB, where can the folks at home find you between your appearances here on College Baseball Now?
Yeah. On Twitter, it's JB_Sebastiano. Obviously, as Josh said on the Prospects Live site, we've put out some good articles. Me and Josh, as he talked about, also shout out Will Dodge. He's not on here, but we'll shout him out. Doing the Raising the Draft Stock articles. We'll be coming out with another one next week on part 2 of the right-handed pitchers. I did left-handed pitchers last week, and we already have a right-handed pitchers article out there. So go check those out. Some interesting names you probably don't know right now. Good to follow. Good to know on draft day.
Absolutely. Jake, where can the folks at home find you, my friend, between your appearances on College Baseball Now?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Jake Barge. I'm going to be working on a live look article. I recently went to Penn State versus Bucknell, their fall finale, the other day. So I should have that article put out in the next couple of days, along with some video and some other things to go along with it. So be on the lookout for that.
Like the millennial I am looking so forward to the video. It's going to be fabulous. Glad you got to be at the ballpark. Always a good day to be at the ballpark. Always a good day to follow us. And if you have whatever inkling to do so, you may follow me on the Twitter machine at DrewIsOK, on Instagram at the same, Blue Sky at the same. And as these guys have said, they're all pros. You can find all of our work at prospectslive.com. Memberships start as low as $5 a month, where you can find everything you need for your baseball fandom, whether it's college baseball, dynasty baseball, amateur baseball. You want your team ranks. You want help to see what cards to invest in. You want to find the dynasty league to play in. You want tools. You want rankings, tricks, tips, articles, podcasts. We've got it. prospectslive.com. Membership start as low as $5 a month. It has been such an honor and a privilege to be with you guys here today on this show and to learn so much. We ask that you would please at home give us a 5-star rating, give us the old thumbs up, give us the subscription, drop a comment below. Let us know what squad didn't we talk about that you think deserved to be mentioned in our top 25. Between the 4 of us, we will respond to every comment naming a team. So, guys, I'm signing you up for that. So, look alive. Anyway, until next time, for JB, for Josh, for Jake, it's your friend, your host, your boy, Drew Wheeler, saying goodbye, and we'll see you later.